Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Boink Studios, and check us out on boinkstudios.com, where you can see all of our projects, past, present, and future. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy's show. Step off.
Hey, what is up? Welcome back to the program, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and this is Tom Clark's Main Event. We're back once again on Facebook Live. Glad you are with us. We are also recorded. Hi, how are you? We're also recording today. The show will post on YouTube and is always available online at boinkstudios.com. That is the name of yours truly's production company. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, and iHeartRadio. The show's always free. We don't charge because I don't believe in doing that. A lot of websites out there, pro wrestling websites, charge. Go with God. If you can do it and earn money, I guess, sweet. But I'm not doing it. Hi to everyone out there. Thanks for tuning in. So, nice. So the peanut gallery is in full effect already. Okay, listen, before we hit a Q&A like we did the last time, and by the way, thanks to everyone that tuned in last time. And, of course, much thanks always to Wrestling Rumors here on Facebook Live. Much thanks to them as well. Before we get started with the Q&A, there's some things we're going to go over. Right now on my TV, and you can't see it. You can't see it, number one, because the TV's under the phone, but also because if I show this on Facebook, it's copyright infringement. It's Tanahashi versus Okada from the G1. So I don't read spoilers. Please, everyone, be nice and don't give me any spoilers. I don't want to see them or hear them or read them or whatever. So yeah, we're going to get to that. Just everyone be patient. So let's go ahead and talk about the highlights of today. Actually, not today, but this week in pro wrestling. Let's talk about what's been happening in WWE. We're going to touch on a lot of things very quickly, and then we're going to jump to Q&A at the end. I like the format. If you guys like the format, let me know. Did you see the Undertaker shirt? You can't see it if you're listening. That's one of the downfalls to not being able to see the show. Every week I'm going to try to rep a different guy or gal in the business. So this week it's Taker, the Dead Man, the Phenom, the Taker of Souls. A lot of different nicknames, man. I think in WWE, if you don't have at least like 3 nicknames, you're not doing it right. Right? Triple H, The Game, King of Kings. Does he have it? Cerebral Assassin. There she is. There you are. You gotta have at least 3 nicknames. Let's talk about WWE. Let's go ahead and jump right out the gate. Much love to everybody for tuning in. We do appreciate it as always. Okay, so in non-WWE related news, can we start off with this? We talked about Punk a little bit on the last time on the show here. Colt Cabana is suing CM Punk for breach of contract and fraud. Evidently, Punk promised to take care of Colt's legal fees from the lawsuit that was brought forth by Dr. Amon and WWE over what happened on Colt Cabana's Art of Wrestling podcast, in which CM Punk appeared a few years back. And the lawsuit was frivolous, it was nonsense, it was absolutely ridiculous. We all know that. Yes, we knew that from the moment it started and from the moment it was announced. It never should have happened. And as evidenced by the fact that the decision came back in Colt and Punk's favor. Supposedly, now it just depends on who you believe or what you believe at this point, but supposedly Punk was going to take care of Colt's legal fees, in his words, 100%, according to a text message that Punk sent Cabana. Don't know if that's true or not, have no idea. But that's coming from, Colt's lips to God's ears, I suppose. But yeah, I have no idea. But the lawsuit is supposedly moving forward. This is a good one, folks. Cabana owes over $513,000 in legal fees. Cabana is asking for $200K in general damages and $1 million. $1 million. What is that? In punitive damages. The lawsuit claims Brooks, CM Punk, Phil Brooks' real name, yes, Brooks acted with fraud, malice, and oppression toward Colton with the deliberate intention of causing Colton harm. Oppression. Those are some big words, man. I got to tell you something. As a fan of both guys over the years, I'm very sorry to hear and to see all this. This is a shame. I didn't think it was going to come to this. But that just goes to show you, be very careful what you say to people. All right? Be very careful what you say to people, man. If you offer to do something and you have a record of it, and it's because I'm telling you something, man, they really go forth on social media is a lot of legal matters these days. I've seen it in my other life away from the business, actually, where men and women are losing their jobs because of something they said on a text message or what have you. So you got to be very careful, man. So if you text someone, hey, I got you, brother, don't worry about this, I'll pay it. Well, guess what? You're then on the hook. I mean, I don't know if that's going to stand up in court. I have no idea how far this is going to go. I would hope that both men could reach an agreement, but don't be disillusioned by this. Don't be fooled by any of this. I'm going to tell you right now, because as far as being in debt, it's as much as two guys can be in debt and be pro wrestlers, in my opinion, because they just went through that long court case. So, yeah, he is being sued. So, I don't know. It's not helping Punk's cause. Can we be honest? A lot of people still hate Punk for walking away. I don't. CM Punk's his own man. He doesn't owe me a thing. Doesn't owe me an explanation. Doesn't owe me anything. We have to remember what we're talking about here. We're not talking about NBA players who run up and down the court. All due respect to the game, okay? Because I like the NBA. I like basketball. We're talking about men and women that put their lives on the line, literally. Now, I know anything can happen on a basketball court. Obviously, anything can happen on a football field. I get it. But, every time you go to the top for a simple clothesline, for a simple 450, you can break your neck. It's that simple. I mean, that's simple, right? So a man or woman that's in the ring doesn't owe me anything. Doesn't owe me their time. Doesn't owe me an explanation. Doesn't owe me the courtesy of a phone call. Doesn't owe me anything, to be honest with you. I pay good money to see them perform. Yes. If they no longer want to perform for me, then I'll pay to see someone else. You know what I mean? That's my feeling on Punk. But no, I don't think this is helping Punk's cause at all. I have no idea what's going to happen with him. In this case that I guess is now going to go to court unless they can reach some kind of agreement. Punk was unsuccessful in UFC. We all know that. Punk has more guts than probably all of us put combined. Unless anyone that's listening or watching this podcast right now has been an MMA fighter. If you are, hey, congrats to you. I'm sure it's not easy. But come on, man. He's got more guts than all of us put together. And you can say that it's a payday for him or whatever you want to say. But there's easier ways to make a payday when your name is CM Punk. Now, here's the deal. Will Punk need a payday in order to go through this court case? I have no idea. It doesn't matter what is said or done. It's all entertainment and drama and planned out. I don't believe about the lawsuit being planned out. If you're talking about the business, of course, you're 100% right. Absolutely. It's all planned out ahead of time. I will tell you this, that a lot of what you see on TV and what you hear about maybe isn't necessarily planned, to be honest with you. Things happen. People are their own guys. If you do go into business for yourself, whether it's on the mic or in the ring, you have to understand the repercussions. And we can get to that just a little bit later. I've got a lot of show notes, and it occurred to me in the middle of writing these things down. That's a long show. So anyway, a lot of stuff to talk about. I don't know how I feel about this. Like I said, I hate to see it for both guys. Will Punk need a payday eventually? There's always a possibility of All In on September 1st. Time's ticking away for that, man. You would think the show's already sold out. If they want to get some last minute buys, they could announce that Punk's going to be in the crowd or some nonsense just in order to get people to buy in. That would bring the WWE crowd over. If there's any WWE fans that don't intend on watching All In, I'm going to be there. I'm going to watch. I'm not going to be there. I'm going to watch it. Are you going to watch it? I'm watching it. So there you go. I'll be watching on the New Japan, not New Japan app, but the Honor Club app from Ring of Honor. So yeah, I highly endorse it. Go check it out. So then there's a possibility of the G1 Supercard next year, in April of 2019 at Madison Square Garden, the house that Vince McMahon built. How about that, man? Is that something? Ring of Honor and New Japan partnering up in the house that Vince McMahon built. That's crazy. But it's happening all the same. So, will Punk come back? That's the $1 million question. I think it's a long shot. When the guy says he's done, that means he's probably done. I just don't know if I don't know if I see him coming back. I just don't know if it's going to happen, to be honest with you. But we will see. We can cover a lot of this stuff at the end of the show if you'd like. So let's move on real quick. Some news. Let's go to WWE news. Everyone likes to talk about WWE. Someone just said all out, hey, man, to each his own. It's cool. You know, I get it. Sometimes the indie stuff is a little difficult to watch. A lot of joke wrestling. Of course, some people would argue that WWE is nothing but joke wrestling. I don't have any idea. It's just a different kind of joke, if that makes any sense to you at all. Had nothing to do with that. Or Pat, the house that Vince built. Relax, Dave. Everyone calm down. Wow, we're cursing, are we? That's just highly inappropriate. What are we, New Japan here? I get what you're saying. Will it make you feel better if I say it's the house that WWE built? Does that make everyone feel better? It's Vince McMahon's company. But I understand what you're saying. Good point. No worries, no heat. All good. I get what you're saying, though. But Madison Square Garden is a big deal. Ring of Honor being there is a big deal. It's the first time in, I think the number is 60 years since another company. I mean, maybe the number's too big, but I'm thinking that's the number, that another company has ran Madison Square Garden. So someone said, let's just talk about Heyman. All right, let's jump to it. That's the next on my list anyway. Let's talk about Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman cut a very tearful promo, which I didn't expect. I didn't expect the tears. I'll be honest with you. I didn't see that coming. I knew, I don't know what to expect when Heyman takes the mic. Because when Heyman has the floor, it is... okay, I get it. Jeez. Some people just have to hammer the point home, smack you right in the face with it, don't they? We're talking about pro wrestling, brother. We're not talking about hockey. We're not talking about basketball when we're talking about WWE. That's pro wrestling, okay? Well, sports entertainment. That make you feel better? Relax. Everyone relax. It's going to be fine. My goodness. Unbelievable. Can we please talk about Heyman now? Can we all talk about Heyman? Please and thank you. Paul Heyman cuts the promo in which he is distraught, emotionally disheveled. He's beside himself, yes? Because Brock Lesnar won't return. What did he say? Brock Lesnar disconnected his phone number. From everything we've heard and read about Brock Lesnar doesn't even own a cell phone. I don't know if that's true or not. Brock's kicked back on his farm on his tractor or something. I don't have any idea. That's what everyone wants you to believe. Maybe it is true. I don't know. Maybe he's, baling hay as we speak. I don't know, man. But Paul, beside himself, said that Roman Reigns didn't stand a chance. Renee Young conducted the interview. And some people just can't let stuff go. We're moving on, pal. Move on with us or tune out, I suppose. It's your choice. So Heyman says that Roman Reigns doesn't stand a chance. Okay. So the next thing you know, WWE on their YouTube channel posts what they're calling the unaired final moment of the Paul Heyman interview. In the unaired final moment of Paul Heyman interview, he ends the sentence, Roman Reigns doesn't stand a chance. And suddenly he stops. He looks off into the distance and says, unless. He can barely get the word unless out of his mouth before he stops, takes off the mic, politely thanks Renee Young, shakes her hand, politely thanks her for the interview, and walks away. So, how are we feeling about that? For real. So, everyone and their brother for 3 years, basically since Roman came in with the Shield and it became obvious like within 30 seconds that Roman was going to be a big deal. You didn't need the company to tell you that. Long before Roman ever had shade thrown at him by the fans or anybody else in the business or what have you, you could look at the guy from a distance and say Roman's probably going to be a big deal, right? You could just tell by looking at him. He had the look, he had the size, he had the charisma, he had the body language. Everything was perfect. So people could see that about him, okay? So you knew that something was going to be big. But from the moment all that began, people kind of noticed Paul Heyman over there saying, Roman can't talk that well, but what if Heyman were speaking for him? Whew. So, yours truly, in fact, when I say recent, I was going to say recently, and as a matter of fact, today, on WrestlingRumors.com, posted my latest column concerning Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman, the entire situation. So, here it is. does Roman Reigns really need Paul Heyman in order to beat Brock Lesnar? This thing is so screwed up on so many levels. And when I say screwed up, I'm not talking about, anything overwhelmingly negative. I'm not saying anything that can't be fixed. Having Paul Heyman on your roster and on the mic, killing it every week or whatever, is a good thing. Having Roman Reigns as your top guy because he's still fairly young. He's still got a lot of career ahead of him. He's got more ahead of him probably than he has behind him, I'm sure. Okay, is a good thing. Love him or hate him, it's a good thing. Brock Lesnar, for the name recognition that he brings, for the crossover mainstream success that he brings, having him on your roster, for better or worse, God help us all, is a good thing. None of these are really problems, but throw them all against each other onto the wall and see where they land and see how they stick. And man, it is a little bit of a problem. It's a mess. People want Roman to join up with Heyman. I get that. That's what they want to do. They want Roman to join up with Heyman. Heyman could be his mouthpiece, Tom, because, Roman can't speak. He's terrible promos. You're right. Can't argue with that. He's gotten better, in my opinion, but he's still not where he could be, where other guys are. I totally get that. I understand where you're coming from. But the moment that you put those two guys together, let me ask you a question. Doesn't Roman get cheered? I mean, didn't Brock Lesnar heel out when he delivered the F5 to Kurt Angle? Didn't Brock Lesnar heel out when he throttled Paul Heyman, left him for dead in the middle of the ring? Didn't Brock Lesnar heel out when he said he didn't care about the company? He doesn't care about the fans. Didn't Brock Lesnar become the worst heel in the company when all that happened? I mean, am I right or wrong? So now you want Paul Heyman to give him the assist, to give Roman the assist over the heel, thinking that that's going to heel Roman out. That's so messed up. Now, anything can happen. Anything can happen. A lot of things have happened in WWE over the years we never saw it coming. Some things are painfully predictable, yes. Other things we have no idea that's going to happen. So I get what you're saying right now. Roman doesn't need Heyman. I don't think he does either. Thank you. I don't think he does either. I don't think that Roman needs Heyman. I think Roman is right where the company, I know. Roman's right where the company wants him to be. Would the company rather him get 100% cheered? Absolutely. And we covered this in last week's show, yes, last time. That this whole idea that Roman Reigns, that it doesn't matter if he's heel or face. It matters. WWE wants him to be the top babyface. Well, he's already top babyface. You may not like it. A lot of people may not like it. But he's already booked as the top babyface. That's how he's presented. You can accept it or hate it. Completely your choice. Okay? But at the same time, it is what it is. That's how the company has presented him. He's not a heel. Roman's not a heel. This idea of, is Roman Reigns been a heel all along? Nope. Sorry. He's not. He's nowhere close. He's not a heel. Okay? So, he's right where the company wants him to be. He's on top. I'm not saying he's having the best matches of the card. Everyone relax. Don't try to, throw hate over here. But he has arguably among the best matches on the card almost every time he's in the ring. Okay? And I'll be honest with you. He doesn't need any help. But then again, CM Punk didn't need it either. Right? CM Punk didn't need help either when he and Heyman joined forces on Raw. So, anything can happen. Are we going to see Heyman and Roman together? Perhaps, yes. Maybe. It's a good possibility. I don't know to what end, and I'm not really sure for what purpose that we're talking about. But yeah, anything's possible. I just don't know how I feel about it. I think that WWE has the propensity to screw this up because they often screw stuff up. And that's not to throw shade at them either, because WWE is not a perfect company. Their stock's up. They're killing it financially, but they're not a perfect company. You and I both know that. We all know that. They screw things up constantly, man. So, we'll see what happens. Let's move on, shall we? We're going to come back and get questions. Everyone hang on, okay? So, we spoke about Renee Young. Renee Young, this coming Monday, August 13th on your calendars. Mark it down. Renee Young is going to serve as guest commentator next to Michael Cole and Corey Graves on the August 13th edition of WWE Raw, making history for the first time a female has ever done that. She's also working the booth in the Mae Young Classic, the second annual Mae Young Classic, next to Beth Phoenix, which marks the first time two females of WWE have been in the booth for an entire broadcast. This is some groundbreaking stuff, man. Can I be honest with you? Before we get too far into that, I've never been a huge Renee Young fan. Nothing personal. I think she does a good job. Maybe I should rephrase it this way. It's not that I'm not a big fan of hers. I'm not a big fan of the way she's used at times. And here's why. Here's why. And I don't, and in regards to perhaps Renee becoming a permanent women's commentator, all for it. All for it. I may not have cared for the way she's been booked, and I may not be in love with her personally, but if anyone deserves it, it's her. And if anyone should do it, it's her. 110% absolutely. So, talk about the NWO. What's there to talk about, brother? NWO is dead. It's a dead gimmick. It's like talking about the South shall rise again. Civil War's over, baby. Let it go. I'm playing. Relax. Don't anyone get upset. We'll get to the NWO. Can we get to it after this real quick? Please and thank you. So, it's a big deal. And again, it's the way she's booked. You see Renee Young backstage, and they do this thing. They do it with everyone that interviews backstage, not just Renee. But they do this thing backstage where she'll talk to a guy, put the mic in his face, come back, and he'll give a statement. That's how it is. And he'll walk off. And the camera, instead of just cutting away from Renee, the camera falls back to Renee, and she has to smile, or she has to frown and look concerned. It's that moment of hesitation after the guy walks off that I'm sitting there thinking, was that necessary? I don't know. That kind of stuff irks me. I don't know. But you're talking to a guy who's, a fan of the old territory days that liked it when they put up the backdrop in the same arena right to the edge of the crowd and would bring on Dusty. Bob Caudle's talking to Dusty Rhodes with NWA logos behind him. You could hear the crowd in the back responding as Dusty cut his promo. That's what I wish they would bring back. I don't need to see the fans behind them. And I don't need it backstage where you could hear a pin drop and it's, the thing was shot an hour and a half ago. I don't need to do anything like that or see anything like that, actually. But those are minor complaints. There again, she's taking Coach's spot Monday. Everyone should be hitting a thumbs up for that because everyone hated Coach last week. Man, Coach is terrible. Coach is terrible, as Charles Barkley would say, right? He's terrible. Coach should be better at his job. We said that before. We'll see how good Renee is coming up. I think she's going to kill it. I think she's going to be fine. So I'm looking forward to that. You want to talk about the NWO? I'm going to throw you a bone. Let's talk about it. Check out Hogan's Instagram. He recently took a photo with a fan at his beach shop in Orlando. He's got like 2 or 3 beach shops in Florida. And he took a photo with, and I wrote that column too, by the way, covering when the Instagram post hit. He had full NWA gear. That would be nice, right? I prefer that over the NWO gear any day of the week. Thank you. But he had full NWO gear, the black and white. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were there, and they were shooting something. Okay, as my voice cracks, and I attempt to get this out. So, what are they shooting? If they've got the NWO gear on, they've got the logos, the gimmick, and all that stuff, they're shooting something for WWE. I doubt very seriously that they're shooting anything for Hogan or for Hall or Nash. In order to use the logo and the hand gestures and all that stuff, it's WWE sponsored, yes. And I'm sure it's WWE's camera crew, I'm guessing. There's rumors going around about NWO returning. Maybe not necessarily these guys getting in the ring, which is good. We don't need to see them in the ring. And everyone that's saying Hulk Hogan doesn't need to come back, you're right, he doesn't. He is... Listen, there's this fascination with things and in the business, and the NWO is one of them. There's this, it's been romanticized over the years, even though WWE has seemingly tried everything in its power to drive it in the ground because they keep reminding you who won the Monday Night Wars, right? It sure wasn't WCW, right? They keep telling you that stuff. So anyways, but it's been romanticized despite all the work, negativity surrounding it from that company itself. That the NWO was this groundbreaking thing, and that it really turned around the industry and did something new and fresh and different, and did all this stuff. I was there as this stuff was happening live, and let me just tell you this right now: when it comes to the NWO and how it went. Was it fun to watch? Yes. Each and every week, you got to flip back and forth between Nitro and Raw and see what the NWO was going to do next. how many NWO guys Sting was going to beat up. That was fun. I'm not saying it wasn't fun to watch. However, at the same time, we were all very, very aware of some of the really crappy TV that was happening on WCW. And some of the really crappy angles coming out of the NWO storylines. Okay? So for anyone sitting back talking about, oh my God, Tom, the NWO is amazing. They're just perfect. No, they're not. It's terrible. The thing was a dumpster fire in the end. Okay? There were offshoots. There were spin-off groups. It didn't work. None of them worked. The NWO Wolfpack was fine. Great music as a highlight of that group. Putting Sting in red and black face paint and putting him with the one group that tried to shut down the company that he stood up for made absolutely no sense. It was fun. I didn't let it ruin my day. But at the same time, I was very keenly aware as this was happening. Wow, this has got a lot of problems. This got a lot of problems, a lot of issues. And it did. And it wasn't sustainable. You cannot continue to have this all invincible faction that does nothing but wreak havoc and cause chaos and run the show and destroy everything around it, because eventually fans are going to get tired of it. There's check out the Monday Night War interviews from the DVD that WWE did several years ago. You know, I think it was Eddie Guerrero that was talking about you couldn't tell what day it was in WCW. You couldn't tell what week it was because every week looked exactly the same. They looked exactly the same. NWO was a cancer to WCW, too big, too powerful. I can't argue that. In the end, that's what it became. It didn't begin that way. That's what it became. Thank you. Because it was left unchecked because the inmates were running the asylum. Okay? But I think it was Eddie Guerrero on the Monday Night Wars DVD several years ago that said that you couldn't tell what week it was in WCW because it was the same thing each and every week. Okay. Fast forward to the Nexus. Remember the Nexus? Yes? But how many attacks into the Nexus storyline were you sick of it? Probably not many. Right? 2 or 3? 4? I mean, think about that, man. 2 or 3 or 4 attacks in, and you're already sick of the Nexus storyline because it didn't go anywhere, because it wasn't going anywhere, because you were waiting for the end game. It became clear that they were targeting John Cena. The big match between Wade Barrett and John Cena happens, which Wade Barrett probably should have won. All signs pointed to it. And guess who won? John Cena. What? Killed the Nexus's momentum. Killed that group. It's not sustainable. The Shield is the only group that were able to sustain it. You want to know why? It was 3 guys. 3 guys instead of 10. You can have the 3 strongest guys in your entire company. I don't care who the company is. You can have your 3 strongest guys working together, sneak attacking, bombarding a guy in the middle of the ring. They can take out 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys, maybe even 4 guys, maybe more. Okay? But in the end, the numbers game will eventually catch up unless there's weapons involved, or unless it's just 2 of them in the ring and they're baiting the guys in, and then here comes the 3rd member with a weapon, whatever the case may be. But it's not sustainable. The Nexus was the only group that was able to sustain it. And what happened eventually with the Shield? The Shield turned face. Do you see what I'm saying? Because things have to evolve. You can't continue to do the same thing. The NWO began as an idea from Japan. I think it was All Japan, a group that was running between All Japan and New Japan. Eric Bischoff got the idea from there. And it's okay. Whatever. It's hard to have an original idea these days. Everything you see came from something else, for the most part, right? Very hard to see anyone that's 100% completely original, right? It's okay that that's how it was. But to sit there and say that the NWO was the end-all be-all, they're not. The logo is cool, but we tend to rewrite history to make ourselves feel more comfortable and to make ourselves feel good about it. The NWO ended in a complete disaster. It was disastrous for WCW. Now, was it the NWO's fault? Not necessarily. It was how they were booked. It's always in the booking. Anybody out there listening, anybody out there watching, it is always in the booking. 100% in the booking. I mean, you can't argue that point. And you can say that because if not, then that means that guys are going in the business for themselves. It means that guys are doing what they want to do in the ring. And again, I say to you, if you have anybody doing that, if you have anybody going in the business for themselves on the mic or in the ring, that person is eventually going to have to be dealt with. And I don't care if it's WWE, I don't care if it's Ring of Honor, I don't care if it's New Japan. Speaking of New Japan, the roster is officially being dealt with. Yes, another bit of news for you. Switching gears real quick. There's news coming out this week that New Japan is clamping down on the language, and then also that Tama Tonga has been disciplined in some way. I'm not sure what that means. But anyway, had the Razor Ramon toothpick for effect. Did you like that? Bam! I'm wrapping up the NWO angle. Would have been great if I could have wrapped it up doing that. Next time I will. Stay tuned for that. So, yeah, because the guys in New Japan, much like WCW, where it's the inmates running the asylum. Referees get tossed around. The barricades, man, those barricades at ringside got to be a little bit more stable. They weigh like 9 pounds each or something. I mean, that's it, because these things just get thrown all over the place. Guys get hurt, and they're completely out of control. Tama Tonga, Bad Like Fale, Tonga Loa, just doing whatever they want to do. Tama Tonga consistently going after Roman on social media. It's fun. It's entertaining. Don't take all the bullets out of the gun, right? But the deal with the language, and dude, I curse all the time. It's true. I'm not going to lie about it. It's not necessary for any of us, I don't think. But you know what? I do it all the time. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing it. Isn't that weird? But but do I need it in my pro wrestling? Not necessarily. Can I be honest with you? Not necessarily. So, when it comes to, again, guys going to the business for themselves, doing what they want to do, you can to a certain extent, but eventually it's going to come back to haunt you, which is what we're seeing in New Japan. Now, I don't want them to tone down the product to the point that it's unwatchable. I don't want them to water it down to the point where it's, rated PG. I don't want that from New Japan. I mean, a hard PG-13 and a low rated R is fine. Okay? I don't need rated PG. Not with New Japan. They should be able to do a little bit more than WWE does. New Japan is not a publicly traded company, right? So they should be able to do a little bit more than WWE does. And I hope they continue to do more than WWE does. For real. But again, you can only do so much until the time comes that you're going to have to be put in check. So, that's what's going on in New Japan right now. By the way, real quick, if you want to touch on New Japan, I'm seeing the end of the Okada-Tanahashi match. I'm not going to tell you who wins unless if you haven't watched it. And if you've never watched New Japan, give it a shot. Give it a shot for 4 weeks. Right now is the best time to do it because the end of the G1 is happening soon, in the next week or so. And so it's the best time to do it. It's $10. If you don't like it after that, cancel the subscription. No worries. It's worth it. It's good wrestling. Again, as I said in the last show, man, New Japan has its issues, like a lot of other companies do, like WWE does, like WCW did. Okay, everyone's got their own separate set of issues. So I'm not saying that New Japan is perfect by any means, because they're absolutely not. But it's entertaining. It's fun to watch. There's some really seriously talented guys in that company, man. I'm telling you right now, seriously, seriously talented. So what other headlines do you want to touch on for this week? So Daniel Bryan versus The Miz is official for SummerSlam on August 19th. Daniel Bryan has nothing to prove. The Miz does. No matter how much people like The Miz, he's got something to prove, in my opinion. And I like The Miz a lot. It's nothing personal. And I think they're going to have not a good match. I think they're going to have a great match. I think they're going to have one of the matches of the night. I think the match is going to be top notch. I'm looking forward to that. Keith Lee debuted this week in NXT. Someone just asked an NXT question. We're going to get to that shortly. Keith Lee's debut. I'll be honest with you. I have yet to look up a whole lot of stuff on Keith Lee. There's so many independent guys out there, that are either have been signed or in the process of being signed or rumored to be signed. So I've got to look up and do my homework on Keith Lee. I was impressed by what I saw. The dude is very agile in the ring. Very agile. For a guy his size. Had a good match. And I think he's going to be a nice addition. Aleister Black is officially out of NXT TakeOver Brooklyn due to injury. It was a groin injury, I believe it was. He's had surgery. We don't know how long he's going to be out. So we're going to see. We'll monitor what happens to that. So now it's going to be Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn for the NXT Championship in a last man standing match. That'll be fun, right? That'll be interesting. Velveteen Dream and EC3 had an odd segment on NXT. I guess it was supposed to take place at Dream's home. It was goofball and corny, but it kind of fit both of them, to be honest. EC3 can't be a Triple H level heel because EC3 has too much comedic effect going for him. And I say going for him because if he utilizes it properly, he can be very entertaining. You know what I mean? He's got that look where he's larger than life. He looks like he's sculpted out of granite, for goodness sake. And, all of that played properly can be a little cartoonish, but not in such a way that he can't get over. So, I'm looking forward to that match as well. I think NXT TakeOver Brooklyn is going to be good. I can't wait for all the WWE mainstream roster haters to as soon as NXT's over, well, let's see the main roster top that. And as soon as SummerSlam starts, well, this is garbage. NXT was 100% better. Jeez. We tend to just repeat ourselves. Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. All the time. I get it. It's fine. So I think those are, I'm not saying that those are all the headlines, folks, but I think those are the main headlines of the week, which I guess is what we're going to call this episode. By the way, this is episode 97. It's like 40 minutes in or something, and we didn't mention that. Episode 97. So we're almost to the 100 mark. That's pretty cool. I dig that. I'm not going to lie. So, there again, we'll see what happens. It's an interesting time in the business right now. And it's an interesting time to be a wrestling fan. I think it's the best time to be a wrestling fan, in my opinion. It really is. I think it's, I don't think there's ever been a better time, including the Monday Night Wars. So I dig it, man. I'm all about it. Okay, so I think that's it for this week in terms of headlines. We can go do some Q&A now. Somebody asked me about NXT. What do I think about NXT? NXT, of course, was WWE's developmental brand, or supposed to be, and now it's become a viable third brand, a viable option, a viable part of WWE's content each and every week. And I like NXT. The crowd gets on my nerves, but a lot of modern pro wrestling crowds get on my nerves, if I'm being honest. So, I mean, it is what it is. But, NXT is fun to watch. A lot of great talent over at NXT right now. And WWE just continues to raise the bar when it comes to signing independent talent. They bring in guys from all over the country, all over the world at this point, to come in and to, ply their craft at NXT ring. And people talk about, well, these guys are veterans. They do or don't need. There's been plenty of veterans over the past several years who have been like, man, I love the fact that I had the chance to get in NXT and sort of, get accustomed to WWE style. My dog's walking around again. You hear that? It's crazy. So, yeah, no, I enjoy NXT. And in terms of talent coming to the company, someone just asked the question, any truth to Kenny Omega coming to WWE? Well, there you go. So the rumor is, and it's not rumor, it's a fact, Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks, their contracts with Ring of Honor, and I'm assuming it means New Japan as well, don't quote me on that. They're going to come up before the end of 2018. Okay, so for the G1 Supercard next year in April of 2019 in Madison Square Garden, the question is, are these guys even going to be around for the show? Wow. I mean, it's hard to believe that it would get that far. I think Kenny Omega to WWE is almost a certainty. Probably going to happen. It's probably going to happen at some point, yeah. I think he's built for WWE. I think he's just over the top enough. I think he is just he's just theatrical enough to get into that company and have a fairly easy transition. And I think what's up, guys? And I think that he can make it in WWE. Now, when you say making it, what are we talking about? Are we talking about Kenny Omega becoming WWE champion? Anything's possible. Omega versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. There's an interesting matchup right there in a WWE ring. Wow. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. As far as the Young Bucks go, the Young Bucks are beyond controversial. I think that they have really come around in the past several months. I think they have really come back around in terms of getting the crowd back on their side. A lot of the comedy and joke wrestling they were getting involved in is not as much as it used to be. So I think that they've proven a lot of people wrong, which is good for them. and really good for the business. I mean, these guys they're trendsetters. Love them or hate them. You know, and I've been indifferent toward the Bucks for a very long time. I'm not the biggest fans. I've never been the biggest fan of guys popping back up after a move in the ring. It bothers me. I've never been a fan of it. I was never a fan of The Undertaker sitting up after a big move. I mean, I get it. It's the character, but to me it ruins you can't say authenticity. It ruins the authenticity of the move itself, perhaps. It ruins the realism, any realism that you may have had going into a pro wrestling match. I mean, you have to know that the guys in the ring are not only trying to be entertaining, they're also trying to make it look realistic. They're not trying to advertise that it's phony. Well, some of them aren't. When you talk about comedy and joke wrestling, I mean, you got to know that there's a lot of guys out there who are actually doing all they can to just make a big ha-ha of the whole thing, which is insane. And, you know, I hate that, the whole comedy wrestling bit. If we talk about that, we'll be here for the next 3 hours, and I got stuff to do. So I'm not going to do that. But, yeah, I think that Ring of Honor is going to do everything in their power. And supposedly the company has got some offers in place and that are very fair and hopefully lucrative for all parties involved, so those guys can come back and keep Ring of Honor New Japan in the spotlight and in the headlines. I say that needs to happen. So what else we got going on this week? What else you guys want to cover right now? We talked about the NWO. Talked about some older stuff. I like talking about the older stuff. WWE needs better storyline writers, show producers. Certainly seems to be the case. As we said before, last week actually, on last week's show, it is interesting that WWE has filled up their creative teams with guys and gals who have never either been in the pro wrestling ring before or have never even watched pro wrestling religiously. There's something to be said about an outside opinion, about a fresh set of eyes. Let's be honest. I think that's true. But at the same time, there's also something to be said of experience, of a true understanding of how the business is supposed to work. Right? And I think that WWE loses that in a lot of ways. So it's a shame that happens. But you know what, man? WWE's not going to change their opinion, nor change the way they do things, despite what anyone says. And full proof of that, evidence of that, is Roman Reigns. They're not going to change him. I don't see them change. They never changed John. Anything's still possible, right? John's not dead. I mean, he could come back at any time and pull some crazy swerve where he turns heel. I don't know. But it seemed like they had so many opportunities to do it in the past, and they refused to do it. I just don't see it. WWE needs to stop scripting promos. They're really hard to watch, and they need to do away with general managers. I've been against the authority figure on WWE TV for a long time, but it's not going to go anywhere. I agree with you, but it's not going to go anywhere. WWE's fascinated with the authority figures on their programming. Mostly heel authority figures. Fascinated with it. And I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. As far as guys not having their promos scripted, I believe, and this may fly in the face directly of popular belief out there, I think that some of their talents have no business speaking for themselves because they're just not there yet. Now, whose fault is that? Is that the talent's fault or is that the company's fault? Is that the company's fault for not fostering an environment in which they're allowed to speak freely to begin with and providing them the opportunity to be themselves from the jump? Or is the talent's fault for just not having it or not embracing what the tools that they're given and using them to their maximum potential? I don't have any idea. But yeah, you can tell when something's rehearsed. When people are rehearsed, every single word sounds like this, and every single word is robotic. Of course, you could also say that Randy Orton's the most robotic wrestler in the history of the business. I call it like I see it. I like Randy a lot, and I think he's a tremendous in the ring. And I think the way he cuts promos works for him, but there's not a lot of heart and emotion behind his words. Some guys are different. Some guys need a helping hand. Other guys don't need it. You know, The Rock, for all of the talk about people saying, well, you know, The Rock, oh my God, he could hold you in the palm of his hand. 80,000 people in the palm of his hand, Tom. The Rock, my God, The Rock, The Rock. The Rock's promos were scripted. Brian Gewirtz wrote I don't know if it's the majority of them, but a lot of Rock's stuff was written by someone else. Now, of course, Rock had input. I don't think it was a situation where Brian Gerwitz said, "Here, read this out there." Obviously, no. Rock puts his own spin on it, but Rock had blueprints to go from. Dusty didn't have that. Ric Flair didn't have that. Come on. So, when it comes to promos, like I said, I'm back and forth on it, man. Even the ones that you consider to be some of the best of all time, there's certain things about them that would tell you that things are maybe not what they seem. I mean, I don't know. And I'm not throwing shade at Rock. Everyone relax. I'm going to start calling me names. Pro wrestling fans can be a bit spiteful toward each other. Isn't that a shame? Why can't everyone just, for lack of a better phrase, can't we all just get along? Jeez. What else we got going on? What else we want to talk about today? We've lost a few here, but we're gaining a few back now, so we'll see what happens. Improve the training. Make sure they are ready, really ready, before they get on TV. I can't argue that. But in WWE's developmental situation, NXT, sink or swim. Sink or swim. You've got to get out there and you've got to show it. Because if you don't have it, if you can't find it, they will replace you. Dog eat dog, baby. That's what the pro wrestling's business has always been. Not just NXT, not just WWE. It's always been dog eat dog. Okay? That's just reality of the situation, man. So you got to get in there and you got to make yourself heard, make yourself known, and grab what it is that makes it work for you and get over. Find a way to get over. Anyone that says that you can't just get over without the company backing you, look at the New Day. Maybe one of the worst gimmicks that company has ever seen. That's saying a lot because that company has some god-awful gimmicks in its past. Kofi, Big E, and Xavier made it work, man. They didn't run from it. They grabbed it and embraced it, like Dustin did with Goldust. Embraced it and said, I'll make it work. Let me do it. WWE, in turn, had to promote the guys because they didn't have a choice because New Day got it over, man. What else we got coming on? Dean coming back as a heel. Anytime anyone comes back from injury, they're going to get cheered for the most part. So he may not be heel on night one, but I think Dean Ambrose is a fun babyface because he's a goofball and it's silly and he's a little off-kilter, yes. But at the same time, Dean as a heel was so entertaining that people started cheering for him. That's the problem. A lot of heels have. And it's a legit problem, man. I like Dean a lot. I think Dean could be as sinister and despicable as they come. But because, the lovable, I'm a little crazy thing is one step away from, Hannibal Lecter. It's one step away from, Jason Voorhees. It's one step in the other direction. One step away from being an ice-cold, sadistic madman. But isn't that kind of what Randy's doing right now? I think it's sort of a fine line you walk with Dean. I like Dean, and I've been on the record before saying that Dean has been so close to making me say, wow, Dean, jeez. But he's not, for me, has not done it. Remember when he and Brock faced off, and Dean comes down to the ring and interrupts Brock and Heyman's promo, and he looks Brock right in the eye and says, "No one wants to fight you. I don't want to fight you either. I don't want to fight you." I sat on my chair and I was like, oh, what did he just say? Did he just say that he doesn't want to fight him? Now, here's the punchline to that. The very next day on WWE's YouTube page, that part of the spot was edited out because they knew, as I knew when I watched it, that made Dean sound weaker than he's ever sounded his entire WWE career. Dean Ambrose shouldn't have common sense enough to not want to face Brock Lesnar. His character should be just insane enough that he would say, "Where's Brock Lesnar? Let me at him. Is Brock here tonight? I want to fight him." But that's not what he said. So I don't want to fight you. I don't want to face you. Wow. So there again, folks, is it Dean or is it the booking? It's a good question, man. Is Y2J going to TNA? I've heard about this. I don't see it happening. Just me talking. I just don't see it happening. I don't think he's going to go. Jericho's been on the record before, and we said this in the last episode, that he does not want to work for any company in the States besides Vince. Japan's different. It's in Japan. He could, I guess, work for another company in Mexico or Canada or something. I'm not saying full time. I'm saying for a guest shot or something. But the possibility of Jericho joining TNA, does TNA have anything to offer him that he can't already do without them? I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about opportunity. Jeff has never been paid more than he has in his career until right now, this moment. He said that publicly. This is the best he's ever been paid. He's never earned a better living in being a pro wrestler than he has right now. He's in demand. So I don't know if TNA can do anything for him that he can't already get in Ring of Honor, that he can't already get in New Japan, that he can't already get in WWE. I don't know what the answer to that is, but I'll be honest with you, I'd be stunned to see him ever perform in a well, you say TNA, but Impact Wrestling. I'd be shocked to see him perform in Impact Wrestling ring. He is still on the roster with WWE, absolutely. He's not. I don't think he's on the WWE page as an alumni. I don't believe, right? Yeah, he's still considered on the active roster. Of course he is. He didn't leave. He just took a break. Jericho just takes breaks. Jericho does a lot, does what some of the veterans can't do, and that's he can step away. He doesn't need his ego stroked all the time. He can step away for a bit and then come back when he's fresh. Jim Ross has said 1,000 times or more, go away for a while, learn a new hold, and then come back. Because fans can't miss you when you're there all the time. Can't miss you. Fans can't appreciate you if they see you 8 days a week, which was the idea of keeping Brock Lesnar exclusive and he's only going to come around once every 47 days or something. I don't know. That's a bit extreme. I'm just saying. Potential WWE Hall of Fame inductees for 2019. Oh, man, that's a good question. That's excellent. That's a good one, and that's oy vey. Okay, if you're asking me, you're not asking for the politically correct answer from Tom Clark, the pro wrestling writer, right? If you're asking Tom Clark, the fan, I want the Midnight Express to get in. Rock and Roll Express are in. Jim Cornette inducted them. Long time coming. So happy to see those guys on the WWE Hall of Fame stage. I think Midnight Express is long overdue to get in the WWE Hall of Fame. My opinion. China. Ooh, hot button topic. Oh, that's a hot button topic. Relax, I'm going to answer. So, China had sex on tape for money. And every single time that anyone thinks about China, it may not be the first thought. It may not be the overwhelming thought. It may not be her defining moment. But among your thoughts is always going to be the thought of China had sex on tape, on film, for money. Okay. Do I believe that should stop from getting in the Hall of Fame? No. Is WWE a publicly traded company that's really, 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 really concerned for their image? Absolutely. I think that's where the problem comes. I think something would need to happen, either publicly or she be endorsed by someone that matters. That's just me talking. I don't know that you're going to see WWE just automatically just stick her into the Hall of Fame. And let me just put it to you this way. The WWE Hall of Fame matters to the fans. And it matters to the men and women that are put into it. But let's be honest. WWE Hall of Fame is not a physical building. Not yet. It probably will be at some point, right? WWE is not a physical, WWE Hall of Fame is not a physical entity. It is an idea. It's a Hall of Fame on paper only. And there's one guy basically calling the shots. One guy basically calling the shots. That's Vince McMahon. It's his Hall of Fame. WWE's his company. It's his Hall of Fame. It matters to us, and I get why it does. I completely understand. But at the same time, I don't see it happening right now. Maybe I'm wrong. And if I'm proven wrong, so be it. I've never been upset at being proven wrong before. If I'm wrong and it's something good, I'd love it. I dig it. Do it. Look at Paige. I apologize if I'm taking your comment out out of context here, but I assume you're talking about China in terms of China's potential Hall of Fame induction. Paige Paige is all over the internet, right? It's crazy. And I'm not going to tell you what she's doing. I mean, you guys are adults, I think, for the most part. You can look that stuff up on your own. Paige is all over the place. And yeah, you're right. WWE does use Paige on a regular basis. So, by your logic, why not put China in the Hall of Fame? Paige's videos, to the best of our knowledge, were released against her will. They were leaked against her will. She didn't know, is what we understand. And I say all that because you're not Paige and neither am I, and we don't know for sure. But for the most part, I would say popular belief states that that she didn't know that the videos were going to be leaked. Okay? Paige did not have sex on camera for money, professionally. And you can go down to your local, naughty video store and rent, or download or whatever you want to do. I'm not saying that's the difference in my mind. I think that's where WWE puts the difference in. I think that's where WWE makes the distinction, is that Paige, things were done without her knowledge in terms of the videos being released, and that China did it willfully. I'm not saying it's right. That's just, I'm giving you what I think is WWE's perspective. So, is Daniel Bryan done after SummerSlam? I don't think so. Let me put it to you this way. Of all the companies Daniel Bryan could perform in right now and have the most impact and reach the most people and do the best for his career and his family, I think it's WWE. And here's why I say that. As we all know, Daniel's the new father, okay? Would Daniel be willing to go to New Japan? And if you're going to be full-time in New Japan, you kind of have to move to New Japan. Unless he makes some sort of deal where he makes limited appearances or whatever. But then he's not wrestling anymore. And wasn't the whole point of him getting medically cleared so he could come back to be a wrestler again because he loves the sport so much? Because he loves what he's doing so much? Wasn't that the whole point of him coming back to begin with? So would Daniel Bryan be okay with a very limited schedule? I don't think so. That's just me talking. And like we said last time, Daniel Bryan in Ring of Honor, Daniel Bryan would be a very big fish in a pretty big pond. But I don't know that would be enough, to be honest with you. And yes, the road schedule in WWE is tough. It does put him away from home anyway. I get it. But I believe that right now, in my opinion, and only he can answer the question, what's best for him and his family? From a fan's perspective, I'd rather have him in WWE. That's me talking. Now, the possibility of matches between him and the New Japan guys is just him and Ibushi, him and Okada. Shut up. Of course. Him and Suzuki. Minoru Suzuki versus Daniel Bryan. That's one. Okay, I suddenly want Daniel Bryan in New Japan. All right, sue me. Don't sue me. There's enough of that going around. So, yeah, it's an interesting idea. I just don't know if it's going to happen. And let's not forget, unless WWE has changed business, changed the way they do their business, and since the last time I checked, when you leave WWE, there is a 90-day no-compete clause. You know what that means? For 90 days, you can't wrestle for anybody. Do the math. He would never make All In, obviously. I mean, SummerSlam's after All In anyway, so it's too late for that. Would the math work out? Would he make the G1 Supercard in 2019? Yeah, I guess he would, right? Yeah, he would. So it's possible. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. Bryan versus Omega. Wow. Another good one. I still think I'd rather see Bryan versus Suzuki. It's crazy. I don't know why. Now suddenly I want to see that match really, really badly. I don't know. But I don't know, so we'll see. We did cover the Bucks and Omega, whether or not they would come to WWE. I think anything's possible. And I think that all three of those guys would do business with that company. I think they would be Kenny Omega, and I think they would be the Young Bucks. I know they would. There's been no name changing going on. They'd be exactly themselves. But let's be honest. Everyone's tempered to a certain degree AJ Styles lost his first WrestleMania match, right? There was a bit of time there where everyone said, this was a mistake. He should not have come, right? Because he wasn't exactly, being pushed to main event status. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, anything, like we said, and anytime WWE says the words, anything can happen, believe it. It's 100% true. Anything can happen. I've seen things in my lifetime I never thought I would see. You have too. So, yeah, no worries, man. No worries. The villain Marty Scurll. Skrull. I say Skrull. Right? I say Skrull. I think that's how you pronounce it. Seems how everybody else pronounces it. I like Marty Scurll. Here's my, we keep talking about the possibility of guys going to WWE. I recently did an interview with Punishment Martinez, the current Ring of Honor World Television Champion. And I asked him, I said, do you guys really worry behind the scenes about what WWE is doing? Do you get concerned with it at all? Are you guys sitting around saying, oh, well, man, if we can just do this one thing, if we can get that Supercard of Massive, oh, man, we're going to be right there competing. He's like, no, we don't have time for that. We don't have time to worry about what everyone else is doing. We're too focused on what we're doing. That's exactly why WCW fell. They were more concerned with what WWE was doing. So this whole idea that guys have to get to WWE to be considered to have achieved it, and I'm not saying anyone's suggesting that here on the show, but some people out there believe, well, unless you make it WWE, you haven't really made it. That's not true. The independent pro wrestling world is bigger than it ever has been. Guys can earn a comfortable living outside of WWE. Can they earn a better living in WWE? Yeah. Right? Because WWE has the most money, obviously. So I want to see everyone do well in the business. If they're really trying to be pro wrestlers and not comedians. I'm just giving you my point, my opinion there. We're getting ready to wrap this thing up, man. We've went for an hour. Yes. And hopefully everybody's enjoyed the show. Saw a few reactions there that were interesting. But you know what? It's all good, baby. So we're going to wrap this up. I'm not sure who we're going to throw it to, but let's end it on a big question. Make it good. Give me something good. And we will wrap it up with a question or comment from yours truly. Whatever you got for me, somebody give me something good, man. All right, I'm waiting for it. Oh, thanks, man. Love the show. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Who should get... You know what? I'm going to end on this. Who should get let go from WWE out of like 10 of them? We're going to end on this. Ryan, thanks for the question. And here's why. And this is in no way directed at you, so don't take this personally or to heart, because I'm not meaning it to be combative in any way. I think that we as pro wrestling fans have a lot of ego when it comes to the conversation of WWE should fire so-and-so. We're talking about men and women that earn their living and pay their mortgage and feed their kids from this gig at WWE. This is their job. And for me or anyone else to sit there and talk about, who should or shouldn't be fired, that is not for me to say. That's not for me to say. And I'm answering you honestly. It doesn't mean it's not a fair question. And I know where the question comes from. It comes from, man, I'm so tired of every time I tune into, this brand or that brand, wrestler X, Y, or Z is, God, he's just terrible. I get it. People get airtime in that company that maybe shouldn't be getting airtime in that company. I get that. But I cannot, in all good conscience, sit back and wish for anyone or speculate on anyone that's going to get released. I don't want that for any of them. I'm just being honest. Now, there are circumstances, there's individual cases. If a guy or gal does something or says something that's against policy, or there's drugs involved, or there's physical abuse, or, use your head, be honest, just be sane about this thing. Be impartial. But I cannot sit back and say, and I've seen headlines where I see that like 10 wrestlers WWE should let go, should fire. And I'm always thinking, my God, that reeks of arrogance. And how unprofessional is that as a writer, as someone in my position to sit back and write a column like that? I can't do it. Never have, never will. I appreciate the question though. And again, I completely see where the question comes from. Hey, listen, we've went an hour. I usually go an hour. We're going to wrap this up. We started today at like 10 after 12. The goal is 12 Eastern Standard Time every Friday. Life happens. Things come up. Sometimes maybe I can't make it. Sometimes it has to be earlier or later. We'll keep you updated here on the website to let you know what's happening. Please leave Some comments. If you're not saying anything right now, please leave some comments. If any of you guys want to friend me on Facebook, you'll get to see all of my content that I post all the time, not just on Wrestling Rumors, but other websites as well. Please send me a request, man. I will totally follow you back. For real. Please subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio. The podcast will be available on YouTube probably by this evening, possibly Saturday. So please go check it out then. Give me a follow. I'll follow you back. I'm on Twitter at Tom Clark Writes, WRITES. If you ever have anything you want to talk about to me one-on-one, you want to drop me an email, it's boinkstudios@yahoo.com. Check out the website, Boink Studios. That's my production company that I own with my good friend Kyle Smith. And that's our production company, man. You'll see all of our content there. We've got 2 other podcasts we'd like you to check out, if you will. Everything's free. I'm not going to cram it down your throat. I don't want to dollar your money, man. Just go check out our stuff. The hits are all I care about. So just check us out. Thanks for tuning in, man. I do appreciate it. I am Tom Clark. This has been Tom Clark's Main Event, episode 97. We hope you enjoyed yourself. And we will see you next week. We will see you next time on Tom Clark's Main Event.